Hello everyone, I'm Lorena and I'm part of the machine learning team at San Francisco State University, SFSU. The team members are Lucy, Dr. Pruni Pennings, Florentine, and I. Might be wondering who we are. We are three students and one professor trying to introduce you to machine learning. Florentine and I are graduate students doing our masters in cell and molecular biology, and Lucy is studying to be a statistician. We are all members of the God Lab under the mentorship of Dr. Pennings. As a team, we have prepared this workshop to teach you something about machine learning. Today, you are watching the first video of our first workshop, which is an introduction to machine learning. These workshops are meant to familiarize biology and chemistry students with concepts in machine learning and show how it can be applied to your field. We are very excited that we'll be creating a machine learning module that can predict the number of COVID cases that were reported in counties in California for 2020, the first summer of the pandemic, and for 2021, the second pandemic summer. The first workshop is divided into 4 videos, and it will take you about an hour for you to complete. Each of us has prepared a video to give you an intro to machine learning. In this workshop, you'll learn to create, predict, and understand what a decision tree does. These videos are meant to be displayed in the following order. In this first video, I'll give a definition of machine learning, explain how machine learning is used, and I'll explain what we're trying to predict using a decision tree model. In the second video, Lucy will define what a decision tree is. She will teach you how to create a decision tree and how to predict the number of COVID cases in the first pandemic of summer 2020. In the third video, Dr. Pennings is gonna do a recap about the analysis for the decision tree model results in 2020 datasets. She will guide you through an exercise in which we will see whether the 2020 decision tree model can predict the 2021 data, and we will see that it does a bad job. In the fourth video, which is optional, Florentine will demonstrate how to make a decision tree model that works for 2021. Some of this might not make sense for you now, but don't worry, you'll understand what we mean when you start watching each video. Now that you know how this workshop is organized, let me tell you what machine learning is. What is machine learning? I know that for many of you, machine learning is just a vast word, but you might not know exactly what it is. According to IBM, machine learning is a branch of artificial intelligence, AI, and computer science, which focus on the use of data and algorithms to imitate the way that humans learn, gradually improving its accuracy. According to Oxford Dictionary, artificial intelligence is the theory and development of computer systems able to perform tasks that normally require human intelligence, such as visual perception, speech recognition, decision making, and translation between languages. In short, artificial intelligence is broader and it aims to simulate human intelligence whereas machine learning is a subfield within artificial intelligence and it relies on, on using previous data in order to make future predictions and learn to execute specific tasks without being explicitly programmed to do so. If these technical definitions are confusing, for me, this is how I see machine learning. In this image, we humans learn from experience, and based on that experience, we can make our decisions, which are based on predictions. Computers learn from data and follow instructions. In simple terms, machine learning is the concept that a computer program can learn to adapt to new data by itself. There are many programs that learn and adapt to new data by itself, like online shopping. Dr. Pennings likes how whenever she shops online, she gets suggestions of the things that are similar or better according to her preferences. Lucy finds it fascinating that machine learning can do cell count. Traditionally, we need to count cells by hand, but now we can use machine learning to do that for us. How great is that? With the use of machine learning, cell counting can be more accurate. How many of you work with cells? As you can see, this figure shows how cells can be counted using a machine learning model called BGG. Machine learning programs can facilitate research. For example, in our lab, a team of students is using machine learning to predict antibiotic resistance in E. coli strains. That is what my lab mates do. I'm sure you can find more machine learning applications that are beneficial to your research. You might be wondering how machine learning is used. One way to work with machine learning programs is by using modern computer power to create models to make predictions. There are many machine learning models, but we are only going to talk about the decision tree model in this workshop. Decision trees are the basis for more complex machine learning models such as random forest and graded boosted trees. For this reason, we will focus more on showing you how to create a decision tree. Even if you don't realize, your brain uses models to make predictions all of the time. For example, suppose in 1 week there are 100 COVID cases in San Francisco. Then 200 the week after. In a smaller city, Daly City, which is right next to San Francisco, we have 50 cases the first week. How many cases do you think there are the second week in Daly City? Think about it. It's probably around 100 cases. The model could be that the number of cases in Daly City is always around 50% of the cases in San Francisco. In many, but not all, machine learning projects, we start with known data to predict unknown situations. Here are some examples. Netflix. We know which people like The Office, and we know which people didn't like The Office. Can we predict who else will like it? Chemotherapy. We know these people responded well to chemotherapy, and we know these people didn't. Can we predict who else will respond well? The best way to learn about machine learning is by working on projects. We prepare a decision tree project, and you can all have access to it to follow along. For this machine learning project, you need 3 parts. A dataset that has the number of COVID cases per 100,000 people for 58 counties in California, a label from a dataset, which is what we would like to predict. In machine learning, something that we want to predict from a dataset is called a label. Here, we will use the number of COVID cases per 100,000 people in the summer of 2020 as the label. A machine learning model, which is a decision tree in this case. Here, you can see what a decision tree looks like. Let's talk about the dataset now. As you can see in this dataset, we have the data for all 58 counties in California. Previously, we learned that machine learning works by making predictions based on known and unknown data. Let's pretend we only have data for 40 counties and that for 18 counties, we don't know the number of COVID cases. Can we predict then? We have data for Santa Barbara, Madera, as you can see in this column. For each of these counties, we know the label, which is the prediction. As you can see here, the number of cases per 100,000 people in the summer of 2020, we know that we have this data. And we want to make predictions based on this data. We also have a lot of other data in our dataset, like population, vaccination. We will make a decision tree model to predict the number of COVID cases using this other data. In this machine learning world, these other data are called features. Then we will look at these other 18 counties and see how well we can predict. Now that you have a little background about machine learning and you know what we're trying to predict in this machine learning project, in the next video, you're gonna learn how to create a decision tree model for 2020 data.